Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football. It's the 15th edition of the podcast,
Take
David.
Two. We tried this yesterday.
I know we actually got a good wee bit into it yesterday, and then we were thrown out of our own studio, which is great. But, you know, we were missing last week. You had the coronavirus.
I did have
Nice
coronavirus.
to see you've
I
recovered. Yep. I mean, the first in Scotland
I'm a
to do it.
trendsetter.
Yep, that's it. The big man is the ultimate warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, just to confirm, David did not actually have the coronavirus. But we missed a few things last week. There was a lot of talking points. Rangers went on to drop points against Hamilton once more.
Celtic dropped points as well.
Celtic dropped points against Livingston. The Edinburgh Derby was
God,
on.
that seems like a lifetime ago.
We missed a few things, and now we've got a lot to catch up on, a lot to talk about. But we'll try and keep it as up to date as possible. But at the end of the last episode, David, we had a question. And it was considering whether or not Steven Gerrard would be in charge of Rangers next season, which the both of us responded to at the end of the episode saying, yes, we think he'll be the manager. We don't see him going. We don't see Rangers sacking him. We don't see Gerrard walking.
Statement time.
Yep, statement time. Bold rhyme on one statement. Need a graphic for that because it seems like I like to do it a lot now. I started with one after the league was won, and now I'm going to keep going. But this week's, I don't think Steven Gerrard will be Rangers manager next season if they lose to Celtic this Sunday, or even drop points to Celtic. Now, I would have said it didn't matter in the Old Firm result after the Hamilton game.
On Thursday.
Right, realistically, they're going to go out the European tie.
Realistically, we're going to get beaten by Porto and Braga.
But Leverkusen's a completely different team.
You said that about Braga as well.
I didn't say we're a completely different team. No. Right. Let's not throw words out my mouth here, David. I said they were a good team. I didn't say we're completely different. Bayer Leverkusen are genuinely, if they're not, they're just about the best team in the competition.
They spent 100 million last summer, did they not?
They are an incredible team. They've got Kai Havertz, they've got Jonathan Tah, they've got I don't know if Hradeki's still their keeper. They've got players all over that park that can cause problems. One of the best teams to watch in the Bundesliga, Peter Bosz, is a fantastic manager. Rangers are realistically going to go to Europe next year. I think there is a toxic environment at Ibrox right now. I think it's evident. They were lucky at the weekend. They scraped past Ross County. They relied on a double deflection for the goal. Something is up. Something has happened. And I don't think Gerrard is going to be there. Now, you nonsense me yesterday when I brought it up, and I don't believe in it either. Apparently, there's all this talk about Gerrard maybe being under 23's manager at Liverpool. Don't see it happening. No. But if there is a route of some form for like that for Steven Gerrard, I don't think he'll be at Rangers next year. I just think that the last couple of months has shown both the team's motivation and his own motivation, and that is non-existent.
I think he needs to get rid of Morelos first and foremost.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, have you heard all the, I
think it's pretty obvious.
This, that, the next thing. He's apparently overweight. Team of
everyone's like, I saw something yesterday.
Stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. You can't go around believing everything. Yeah, I take everything with a pinch of salt. I don't like believing all these stories you see.
If he was scoring goals just now, no one would care about what size he was. I don't think it's anything in that.
I think he just needs to get.
I just think he doesn't want to be there.
Aye,
and I think it's pretty obvious at this point now.
Especially because the title is,
It's not even like that. All the behaviour from him suggests he doesn't want to be there. I think Rangers fans are starting to realise that themselves now, that Morelos doesn't really, they just need to, if they can get 20 million for him in the summer, they should take it, because he's more trouble than he's worth at this point. If he's scoring the goals, you can forget about the rest of it, but he's not scoring goals just now. So, and every week that goes, his value drops even more. Yep. So, I genuinely believe in January, I think they'd have got 30 million for him.
Yep, and now it's a completely different situation. It's crazy how much
Gerrard's got some tough decisions to make in terms of, one, does he want to continue? Two, how does he go about stopping Celtic? Because it is a massive challenge to stop the 10 in a row. It's like, especially with the squad of players you've got. I mean, we said it last week, they don't know how to deal with the pressure. They don't like the pressure. I mean, I think they need 6-7 players in summer.
But can they afford 6 or 7 players?
Where does the money come from?
Exactly. I mean, Morelos, right, if they do sell him, say they bring in £20 million for Alfredo Morelos, that is a decent enough investment for bringing
it's
in
enough
other
money
players.
If you invest it wisely. But it's
but
just who
are they going
to?
I mean, has Gerrard's signings been all successful? There's a lot of questions around
that have been an absolute disaster. I mean, on the whole, I think his signings have been poor, and even the ones that have done okay aren't at the level needed to stop Celtic. I don't think.
I think that's been just proven over the past couple months. I mean, at the start of the season, we all thought it could have been, even back in December. My question to you is, do you think he'll still be manager next year? Do you think Gerrard will remain? I don't see him getting... Rangers cannot go out there and sack him. I don't think they've got the time.
Why not?
Well, I don't think they've got the time to do it. I don't think they've got the...
If they're going to sack him, it needs to happen now.
It would have to happen right now. But that's the thing. What happens in that situation? If they were to turn around after Sunday, say Celtic go to Ibrox and win 3-0 in a hypothetical situation, Celtic go to Ibrox and win 3-0 at the weekend, and the board go, that's that, Gerrard, thank you very much for your services, but you're not good enough. You're not going to stop 10 in a row. See you after. Right, what happens then? Because there is no full-time manager that is going to... I don't think they're going to get a manager who's going to take that job on a full-time basis for over the next... I think they'll get someone that's steady the ship until the summer and then look for someone else. Rangers don't have the time for that. They don't have the time to go under all these different plans and methods from other managers and all these different players and, favoured signings. Things
change very quickly, though. Football's weird like that. I mean, I don't... Well, to answer your question, I think he will be Rangers manager next season, yeah.
It was right after the Hamilton game, I just said, there's no way. And I thought the Ross County result has brought a little bit of life back to it, a little bit more sort of certainty in my mind.
Well, actually, it was a lot better. From the bits that I saw, I thought it was better, but I don't think Rangers fans could have cared about that performance at the weekend. They needed to win the game. It didn't matter how they did it, I think.
Because they're going into a tough week now. Leverkusen Thursday, Celtic on Sunday, Leverkusen the following Thursday. This is a big week for Steven Gerrard. And look, there is every chance of humiliation from Leverkusen. There is every chance of humiliation from Celtic. Look, I'm not denying. I think Rangers will probably beat us on Sunday. It's just that kind of game. Yeah, we'll come on to that.
That's a bold statement. That's probably the most bold statement you made.
We'll come on to it.
That's the title right there. Ryan Momoney thinks that Rangers are going to beat Celtic on Sunday.
I mean it in a humorous way, because you know what it's like. We go and batter everybody, they lose to everybody, but yet they still beat us. But it could be a horrendous week for Gerrard. I just have the slightest. It could
also be an amazing week for Gerrard.
It could be. That's the thing.
Football's funny like that.
It's very dependent on this week, but judging right after the Hamilton game, I do think there is a chance Gerrard will be gone next year, and I didn't think it last week at all. It's crazy how things change in football. As you said, it changes all the time. But
it's mental how much I think they've missed Jermaine Defoe. I never thought they would, but
they miss a lot of.
Jermaine Defoe would have started the last few games. Domestically, he'd have done a better job.
Injuries and such have really brought down Rangers at the toughest of points. You look at when they came right back from January, and Taverner was injured, Jack was injured, Morelos was injured.
That's why you have a squad, though.
Yep, you were relying on Defoe to get the goals. Defoe gets injured. Other players come back. Other players drop out. Barisic got injured at a point. Did they know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
even
players
when
park.
Ryan Jack has come back recently, I think he's took another knock again. But
I think
he wasn't at the level he was before Christmas. Same with Barisic. I thought Barisic's first half of the season was fantastic. Not quite been at that level since he came back. Tavernier, I thought, had a great. The whole team. I think we said it before. Arfield's the only one who's really had a good turn of the year for Rangers. And obviously Hadji as well has been positive.
Maybe Canberry.
Yeah, Canberry also. The Hamilton result. I want to talk about Hamilton because
it's fantastic for Brian Rice.
The coronavirus is going to wipe out everything in the world apart from Hamilton Accies. You just don't get rid of them. Unbelievable.
Look, it's a pain. I've been saying for years I want them to go down, and then they turn around and do something like this.
See, this season I'm changing my mind on Hamilton. I'm starting to warm to them a little bit.
I don't know how you can.
Why? I mean, everyone has literally continues to write them off and say they can't do it. This, that, and the next thing.
I'm not writing them off and say they can't do it. I just don't want them to do it.
Everyone does at the start of every season. This will be the season they go down. It's the same every year, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to be.
You're right.
The boy Ogumpo up front, great player. I said. I think he'll get a big move in the summer anyway, or a bigger move in the summer. I still think he will. He's been great. But I mean, to go to Ibrox and win, and it wasn't even like they departed the bus. They had a go. Like they had a go at Rangers. I mean, they had a couple of chances out with the goal as well,
which is very surprising of Hamilton. Fair play.
Shows how fragile Rangers are.
Exactly. I think this is at the one time where Brian Rice and the rest of the coaching team have turned around and says, why should we sit back here and play, 10 men behind the ball? Look at the
But I mean, I've maintained that for a long time with the Old Firm. I think Celtic are the same, and Livy prove it. When you do have a goal and you usually try and rough them up, they don't like it. I mean, it's just a fact. Like, it's the way it works. I mean, teams that try and sit in, I think against Rangers now you probably could park the bus and get a result because I don't think they've got the quality to break you down. Against Celtic, not a hope. I mean, look at St Mirren at the weekend.
Right.
But what a result for Hamilton. And then again at the weekend to get another victory. Just an unbelievable week for them. For Brian Rice, after all the issues he's had, he'll be delighted that the football's finally doing the talking. Brilliant.
I think the last couple of games is a really good example of what Hamilton have intended to do all season. It's just not quite worked for them. I feel like, there's been times Brian Rice has came out and said what he wants to do in interviews, and people have laughed at him for wanting to get Hamilton to play a non-defensive style of football, want to bring some flair. They have. They've done well at turning players who perhaps, I mean, I looked at someone like Gogic and thought to myself, he looks like a lump of wood. He looks like somebody who probably can't kick a football, and he's done a fantastic job for Hamilton. He's been the best player all season, probably. But I think the last couple of games is a really perfect example of what happens when it comes together for a team like Hamilton, when you get everyone clicking and you get everybody on the same page. That for Brian Rice, he in his interview, he was delighted, and rightfully so. And if they do keep playing like that over the next, whatever's left, 10 games of the season, they'll stay up. There's no denying that. I don't know what happens there, because it seems every week we come on and we change our mind of who's going to finish rock bottom. At one point it's Hearts, and it's Hamilton, it's St Mirren. God knows who it will be, but and that kind of football will get them by in the split. Hopefully Hamilton, but that will get them by, I believe.
It's just, I mean, some of the young players, the boy Smith's a really good player. Southwood, the goalie, he's been a revelation. He's been brilliant. He's winning them points on his own. Gogic, as you mentioned, Ogdenpo, the boy Miller, some really good players in there. And,
Smith.
A great week. Hearts, though, I mean, Hearts have gone, in the last week they beat Rangers, then they beat Hibs, and they got a point at against Motherwell.
Yep.
And it has done nothing for their survival bid whatsoever.
It's mental. I mean,
St Mirren, though,
credit to Hamilton.
I thought St Mirren were going to be safe. They've been drawn back into it, which makes tomorrow night a massive game, because obviously we'll come on to it later on, but I mean, a massive game against Hearts tomorrow night for them. So it was kind of the case that across the country, all the relegation battles got sort of tightened up a little bit. It was the same in the Championship, but one thing, the biggest talking point for me from the weekend in the Premiership was Griffiths.
I mean, just butter me up. On you go.
I mean,
feel free. Just take it away.
I've said to you how excited I am for this playoff for Scotland at the end of the month, and that's just made me even more excited.
That's all but proves that he should be the starting striker. He's got to be. I mean, look, I'm a fan of Shankland, and I'm a fan of. I'm not a fan really of Naismith or the other one. The other one I'm not going to name, McBurney.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a fan. No, look, Griffiths for me has to be the starting striker. That performance for him is so monumental in so many ways, because it's right before the big game on Sunday. It's right before the Scotland match against Israel. It's fantastic for him. It's great. It's his first hat-trick since when? Oh, God knows. I can't remember his last time he scored a hat-trick.
It's his fifth Scotland hat-trick. Celtic hat-trick, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. Look, his performance at the weekend was incredible, not just for the goals he scored, the way he was in and about the game, in and around the park, and get himself into positions, and everything off the ball and on the ball, he just looked great. It was a really complete performance from a player who, has shown since coming back from January how valuable he could be, but we didn't quite know if he would be that emphatic goal scorer. You expected Gerrard to be the one going out scoring the hat-tricks. And his record since coming back, look, it's as simple as this. Griffiths is the second best striker when he plays his best in the country. Isn't he? Isn't that right?
I'm not even going to comment on that.
That's a conversation for another day, isn't it?
For another day, yeah. And the thing is with Griffiths, I said since he came back into the side, his role had kind of been a bit different to what we were used to from Griffiths. So he was kind of more of the link-up man with Edward.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Which is good to see on Saturday. He's still got that goal-scoring instinct. I mean, 3 really clever goals. Third one is just typical Griffiths. You think that left foot?
He could have had another couple in the game as well.
Yeah, delighted for obviously Scotland, and the wee man, he came out last week and he said that playing for Scotland's like the biggest sort of pride you can have, which, I mean, he wants this so bad. Like,
yep,
he definitely wants it, which is great. Great week for Steve Clarke. If you're Steve Clarke watching all the Scottish boys this past week, you must be delighted.
This is fantastic. I mean, look, I don't want us to build up our hopes so much that we get let down once more, because you know what the story is with Scotland. You get them so high and then they let you down. But this time there's a genuine feeling around this squad that we have assembled, and the way that players are playing. Like, if they can just replicate what they do in a club level for the national team against Israel, we should be going past them, no bother.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic side. The players, look at the story of the season. John McGinn's been one of the best, when he was fit, one of the best centre mids in the league.
It's telling that Aston Villa have fallen really big time.
Yeah, because he's not been there. And you've got McTominay, who's scoring goals at the Manchester Derby.
First half of the season was Man United's best player, got injured, come back, scored in Manchester Derby.
Exactly. You've got Billy Gilmour breaking onto the scene, now being named for the under-21s. We'll come on to him, but Billy Gilmour breaking into the scene. You've got McGregor, who's about to win a quadruple treble. You've got Lee Griffiths scoring hat-tricks and back to his best football. You've got Andy Robertson, captain in Liverpool to the Premier League title. No captain in Liverpool, but captain in us, and then getting Liverpool to a title.
Yeah, I mean,
all these players, it's absolutely
been a
tremendous.
Brilliant week or two for Steve Clarke, and it's given him some selection headaches, but the best possible ones. this Scotland side just deserves some good centre halves though. So
that's what we're due, innit?
I don't really know what to go. I'll be honest, we don't really have a format for today's podcast because we've missed so much.
I know it's just kind of catch up. Billy
Gilmour though. We just started recording about an hour after.
It's Scottish football, innit? So
that's what we're gonna do. An hour after Billy Gilmour has been announced in the Scotland 21 squad. That's when we're recording. I absolutely don't get it whatsoever.
Neither do I.
If Frank Lampard trusts this young lad to play, Frank Lampard is under massive pressure to get 4th spot, and he needs to get Champions League football. And he's gone and chucked in this lad, and he's 2 man of the match performances in the space of a week against teams that are a lot better than Israel are, But I said last night to some of my mates, said if he was Welsh or Northern Irish, they'd have him straight in the senior squad.
That's right.
Straight away. Those countries are the reason
you wouldn't see Giggs knocking him out. I mean, Giggs is selecting players like Ben Woodburn.
Ben Woodburn is what I was going to come to.
Harry Wilson.
Even for Ben Woodburn has been never put in a performance for Liverpool the quality of Gilmour's last 2 for Chelsea, but yet he got chucked in and did well.
Yep.
Harry Wilson as well, young lad, got chucked in, no issues, straight in the senior side scoring goals. If the squad will come out early next week, the senior squad, people are talking about how the likes of maybe Kenny McLean might get in, or who's the other one I was thinking of? Ryan Jack will probably get in. I mean, has Kenny McLean ever controlled a Premiership game and played to that level of... But yeah, there'd be no eyebrows raised if he was in the team next week.
How many games has Kenny McLean actually played for Norwich this season?
It's not even Kenny McLean's point I'm making, but I don't even think, out of all our midfielders, how many could have put in a performance of that quality against Liverpool last week that Billy Gilmour does?
I mean, if you're looking at that Scotland squad, maybe McTominay. Maybe.
But I don't. But it's just like, the kid is obviously good enough.
Lampard's
proven that trusting him and putting him in these pressure situations is getting the best out of him. So why are we wrapping him in cotton wool? I don't get it. And everyone's like, oh, playing for the 21s, he'll get 2 games, he might not play for the senior squad. It's not like he's needing minutes, he's playing for Chelsea. That's the point. If fair enough, if he was still in the reserves, put him in the 21s, fine. He needs games. He doesn't desperately need games. Put him in the squad. I think he should be at least in the squad. I think there's an argument he should be playing. We've said for so long we want Scotland to pick the foreign players. There's not any midfielder in Scotland in better form than him just now.
Like, for me, I don't think he would be a starting Scotland player in these upcoming games. Granted, these last 2 games he's been incredible, but there is absolutely no denying he should be involved in this squad. We need to learn from our mistakes in the past, that situations like this has cost us. Look how long it took for us to bring players like Armstrong into the Scotland team when he was playing his best football. Same with the likes of Callum McGregor. Same with the players down south who were actually playing well. We waited far too long to break these guys into the team. And it came back to bite us. That's one of the reasons, we've had no hope in qualifiers. So we finally give these guys chances. Steve Clarke comes in. We kind of drop the players, your Barry Bannons, your James Morrisons and such. I think Steve Clarke, I'm not taking anything away from him. I think he has righted a lot of the wrongs. I think he's made a lot of the corrections that have took us in a positive direction. But you look at a situation like this, Billy Gilmour's came out, there was a lot of talk about people saying he should pick England. He's came out rubbish that. He said he would never do it. Which is great to hear. But what annoys me is why is Stevie Clarke not looking at this and going, right, he might not play. I know people, he might. The only sort of justification I can think in my head is, right, if he goes to the under-21s, he's guaranteed to play. If he comes to us, he might just be sitting on a bench for 90 minutes.
So say he gets put in the senior squad and Callum McGregor gets injured the day before the Israel
I agree with you. I'm on your side. That's just the only justification I can think of. I would honestly, for me, the 2 names that come straight to my head are Kenny McLean and Ryan Jack. They 2 I would drop in a heartbeat to bring Billy Gilmour on current form. I think both of them are good footballers. I like Kenny McLean. I think he's always been great.
Even Armstrong.
Armstrong's been decent enough for Southampton of recent.
But like that performance by Gilmour, I know it was a cup game. It wasn't like he played up against Fabinho, who's not in great form just now, but has been one of the best holding midfielders in world football, and he absolutely schooled him. If he's good enough to do that against Liverpool, against Everton, I think did he play against Man United in the Cup a week or 2 ago? I'm sure he was featured in the game anyway.
But I think he might have come on.
So if he's good enough for that, how is he not good enough to play against Israel? I don't see why his age is an issue.
I think the moral of the story is, I think it's been the same over the course of the last 20 years. I think there's a lot of scepticism when it comes to picking.
But even just having his name in the squad would be a boost to everyone.
It would be.
It's something to get excited about.
Aye, absolutely. I just think there is this sense of there's this nervousness around bringing these players into the team, and I don't know why, and I don't know if it exists within just the culture of the national team and everybody who's involved, or if it's just a running joke with our managers at this point. Players like this should be coming in. They should be getting a chance. Look, he's a player who could come on and change a game for us if we're struggling. No doubt. No word of a lie. No cap, if you like.
It's just everything. I just like. So what if he has Chelsea play Bayern Munich? Is that again this week?
Yep.
What if he goes to the Allianz Arena and plays? Oh, it's before the playoff anyway. What if he goes away to Bayern Munich and puts in a performance that's as good as what he's done against Liverpool? And,
well, we've made a mistake by not picking him, haven't we?
But that's the thing. Like, and then he goes and does it again in the league for Chelsea. It's not like he's getting in the. I think he's going to stay in the Chelsea team now because Lampard said he's in there on merit, and he's still playing to a high level. He's in better form than Jorginho is than. He's in there. Jorginho was on the bench at the weekend.
Yep. That's credit to.
And that was a league game. Lampard needs to win league games. He picked Gilmour because he was the best option and he was in form. If he has another 2-3 good games for the playoff and yet we've judged that he's not good enough to play against Israel and then we go and get beat off Israel, nuts. Don't get it.
But there's only one thing that annoys me about Billy Gilmour.
What?
He's younger than me.
Oh, I know. He does look about 12 though, doesn't he?
I know, but it's saddening, isn't it? I always hate that.
Roy Keane liked his performance as well. God,
see, that's something. That's a task, pleasing him. Does it not just make you sad when you sit there and someone comes in a football pitch, you're watching a game and like Holland,
I'm starting to get used to it.
Erling Holland, he's a week or something younger than me. That's saddening.
I'm starting to get used to it. I feel like an old man these days.
At least I'm younger than you.
So yeah, absolutely. Joining up with tomorrow though. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ryan's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
So
thank you.
Leave your happy birthdays in the comments.
Cheers.
Or not. I mean, I really couldn't care less. But,
thanks.
And what better way to celebrate your birthday than with Hearts against St Mirren tomorrow night? A massive game.
Hearts.
Every game with Hearts is a massive game just now.
Massive for both of these teams, though.
They've had a good. We've seen St Mirren between the two of us. We've seen St Mirren's last two games. So you were there on Saturday at Parkhead. I was there when they drew against St Johnstone.
Honestly, for a second when you said that statement, I had to pause and go, "Have was I at St Mirren Park?"
No, you saw him getting cuffed off Celtic. What do we think? I mean,
well, what do I think of the performance at the weekend?
What do we think of what's going to happen tomorrow night? I mean,
well, I've got to think to myself, look, Connor, you've got to get a grab.
What is it with you and Conor McCarthy, right?
You've got to get a hold of this.
I don't get it. See, when I watched him against St Johnstone, he had in the first 10 minutes he was hopeless. He kept giving the ball away.
I know to have a bad game now, David. Now,
and then I mean, he's quite quick. I'll give him that, but he is nothing special, or not to the level that you keep going on about him.
He will be. It's a running joke at this point, David. No, what I would St Mirren's performance at the weekend. How much can you take away from a 5-0 battle in the Celtic Park? You know, it happens.
It happened to Hearts, did it not?
Yeah, I think so. So you know, there's not much you can criticise. If anything, I give praise to St Mirren for coming to Celtic Park and not draining the life out the game.
Why? Why would you give them praise for that? They got cuffed 5-0.
Aye, but
they might not get cuffed 5-0 to drain the life out of the game.
Yeah, well, you can at least try and go for something. They had a couple of chances.
What's the point?
Well, you've got to count on Celtic missing their chances and maybe you get something out of a
Celtic did miss chances at the weekend.
Well,
they still won 5-0.
We could have won about 10.
Exactly. So no, I would definitely think they deserve credit.
No, I don't praise them in the sense of
you praise them in that it made it good for you.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I wasn't praising it in the sense of fantastic St Mirren. You know, if I was a neutral, that's great. You know, I mean, from a Celtic fan point of view.
St Mirren have slipped into second bottom now after Hamilton's result, and they're only 3 points ahead of the Jam Tarts. So a win for Hearts puts them on 26, St Mirren on 26, Hamilton on 27, and Ross County on 29. Now, we both said we think Ross County are safe.
In my heart, but that's them right back down there, isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to be I can't wait for the split. The split's got to be fantastic this year.
I think
down that end.
See, looking at this though, see if St Mirren win, that leaves Hearts 4 adrift of Hamilton, and they'd be 6 adrift of St Mirren.
It's getting to
after winning an Edinburgh derby at Easter Road last week and knocking Rangers at the Cup.
That was one thing. Can I just quickly throw in? I came on this podcast last week and said Hearts would win that derby.
You did.
You rubbished me.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just cause I don't know. It's just typical. You predict everything you predict with Hearts is wrong this season. I mean, do you think they're going to win finally? They get beat. You know.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. So tomorrow night. Oh, I really don't know.
Yeah,
when I saw St Mirren last week, I thought
it's a tough one.
They're lacking creativity and the chances they do get. The boy Obika's a threat. He's not a prolific goal scorer. He's not a natural finisher. They probably should have beaten St Johnstone last week. Xander Clark was probably the hero for Saints. I don't know. I really don't know. Because it's like I can see Obika causing the Hearts defence lots of problems.
No, absolutely. But can he finish his dinner? That's it.
You see that he still scored a few goals. It's just like he should score a lot more.
I feel like you add the pressure into it on a situation of a game like this, things become all more difficult for these players. I think they overthink situations, and that's when we see them. It's a game like this where you've got two teams right down at the bottom, fighting each other for that, precious spot of just above the relegation zone, and then players start performing a little less exceptionally than they should be.
It's like Saturday was a decent... A point against the Motherwell for Hearts wasn't a disaster on Saturday, but at this stage of the season, they just need points, and it doesn't really matter. They need 3 of them. And tomorrow night, they absolutely need 3 once again. Do I think they'll get them? No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I like Jim Goodwin's sides are they're pretty well organised defensively normally. In games like this, I just don't trust Hearts to do.
Now I am on the opposite side of you because I think Hearts will get it done.
Let's be honest. What are we both basing this off? Because there's literally no ground for logic when it comes to Hearts.
There's not at all. There's no. Hearts are a team who I said with a wild stab in the dark that they would beat Hibs. I was literally saying it's just going to be one of those games. Hibs should be absolutely battered. And all on paper, Hibs' form has been great. They've been scoring goals for fun. They should be mauling them. And what did I say? I said, nope, Hearts are going to win, just for not even a laugh, because I did see it coming out of sheer nothingness, and it happened. So there is no logic for basing.
But what Hearts have proved this
Hearts
season is that they don't have the ability to keep backing up these performances. If they do somehow win tomorrow night, that will have been 4 games, 3 wins and a draw, which is completely uncharacteristic of Hearts this season. So I just think they're going to slip up again because I don't think they've got it in them to be consistently performing at a decent level.
This is a tough one because even on the other side of things, I sit on the side I think Hearts will win tomorrow night, but on the other hand, I look at St Mirren and go, as you know, David, I've kind of backed them as a solid team all season despite being down there. I think they've made life difficult for other teams. I've always rated them at being the unlucky, not rating them as being the unlucky side, but I've always looked at them as being the unlucky side who maybe if they just had that cutting edge up front, they would be in a far more fortunate position. I like the way Jim Goodwin sets up. I like what he does with his team. I think that with more money, more backing, they could be a side who, are much higher up in the table. I think they'll make life difficult tomorrow for Hearts. But for me, it's just one of those ones in the back of the head, basing off no logic alone, Hearts are going to get it done. I think Stendhal realises now, look, if we can beat Hibernian, if we can go to Easter Road and beat one of the informed teams in the league like that, there's got to be some form of...
But it was the same last time.
I know it was, but there's got to be something that clicks in that game and goes, that worked, use this, do it, do the exact same thing against St Mirren, copy that. And St Mirren, if Hibs can't handle it, surely St Mirren can.
That's a strange thing, because I don't even think Stendhal's style has changed. I think the players, just the way they deal with it changes. He's been pretty...
that's what I'm saying. Get the players to deal with it in the same way, the same manner that they deal with it last week.
I literally have no, enthusiasm about watching Hearts just now because
no one does.
What is even the point?
Oh, what is?
I'm so frustrated with them because they should. I'm fed up saying it. They should be so much better than they are.
They should be sitting third.
Ultimately, they're just. I think they're going to get beat again.
Fair play.
I want to move to the other side of Edinburgh.
Aberdeen.
It's only fair to shout out Aberdeen for what was a fantastic result at the weekend, beating Hibs at Pittodrie. I made the shout that I thought Hibs were going to finish third. They've then had...
Hibs were up as well, weren't they? 1-0.
Yes, Stephen Whittaker got sent off, which kind of killed the game for them. Hibs have had a pretty awful week or two. Aberdeen now, I think, will go on and finish third.
Hey!
I know, God. I just...
Finally backtracking your old statement.
Yeah. Well, it's a admirable trait to admit when you're wrong, So
is that a dig?
Not at all. No.
I admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's quite often.
Yeah. So I think Aberdeen are just so streetwise, aren't they? They know how to do it.
Aye. Look, that's the story. That's what we've been saying. That's why I backed Aberdeen when we did discuss this, and you said Hibs would finish third. I think I picked Aberdeen, and I picked Aberdeen purely out of the experience that they've got.
Watch Hibs go 3 in the bounce now.
No, look, it's still anybody's game. I'm not 100% confident in Aberdeen.
And now it's not. So Hibs are down 37, Motherwell on 46, Aberdeen on 45. Aberdeen have finally found a wee sort of, I don't know.
There's like a little
they're still
niggle of
still a bit patchy, but I still think they've kind of found a wee sort of vein of.
They've got a bit of groove going.
They're playing a lot better with Main up front than Cosgrove, I think.
It's
a bit more fluidity in their play, and as I said, I think just experience and stuff will carry them over the line into third. And yeah, it was a great result of the weekend. So I want to Instagram questions. So I put out for questions on Instagram, right? And I've just realised we've got no Wi-Fi in here, so I can't even check them.
Oh, that's ideal.
So I've got some. I've got some in my head.
You got some in your head. That's great.
I've got ones on Twitter.
Good.
I'm going to dedicate quite a bit of time to this segment this week because there was loads of questions.
That's fine. Quickly, just to add into the point that you just made, just to finish off on the Hibs and Aberdeen talk. I think we've still got, we've got about 20 minutes left. We've got to throw in stuff about Rangers and Bayer Leverkusen, but on the Hearts and Hibs conversation, yes, I do. I see where you're coming from with Aberdeen and Motherwell slightly being ahead of them now. I think Motherwell are going to be very guilty over the next few games. My prediction is they're going to be very guilty over the next few games of continuing this very patchy sort of. It looks like no one really wants it. They don't. There's no team there who's sitting going third place as ours.
To pull away a little bit,
I think Motherwell will slow down again. I don't see Hibs catching up on them, but I think the pressure will get to them a little bit. Like when we get to the 33rd game of the season, we'll have a much better idea of what's going to happen in terms of the final league table positions.
Yeah. Right. We'll do these. We'll go through some questions.
Right, here we go.
We'll
yes.
the Rangers
new segment.
Did we not miss this last week?
No, we
so
didn't.
When we recorded yesterday,
we weren't going to do it yesterday because we never asked the questions. But here we are now. We're here. We've got the segment going last week.
There was a couple of questions. I can remember a few off Instagram, but I've got the Twitter ones here. So on Twitter there was at Addelad57 and at Matthew Wright 0, both with a similar type of question. What are our thoughts on a 16-team top flight?
My opinion has always been it should be an. I think I would love to see it being 18, but 16.
16 well, Matthew 16. put 16/18.
I would. I think the system the Bundesliga has is the best way to go. You're looking at a league with 18 teams, play each other twice, 34 game season, and they have a winter break in there as well. It works perfectly for them. Now, a lot of people follow that because for us, there would be teams coming up here who just aren't good enough, and it would be horrendous for them. But look, the money would get better for them. Players would be playing the top flight. I guess that means you've got to also restructure the 3 leagues below us. It is a big conversation, but I hate the 12-team system. I really do.
If you really do that, you'd have to go with 3 leagues rather than 4.
Yep, and I don't see a big problem with that.
So we've got 42 teams, so you need to split that into 3 leagues.
Which can be done.
What are the maths there?
So if you had 18 teams in the top flight, and then you had 2... No, that's not right. 24, add 18. That's not right either. That's 40, isn't it? Oh well, a couple of teams get put down to the Highland leagues.
Well, forget that. We're talking about the Premiership. Who cares? Right. So
we're not mathematicians. We study journalism.
I would love to see it because mainly because it would be in the film and probably in the top flight.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it won't.
Because
absolutely not.
The teams like St Johnstone, Kelly, Hamilton, St Mirren, all those sort of teams are never going to agree to giving up 2 Old Firm paydays at home and the lack of income that would come by the simple fact of going from 38 games. Is it 38 games in the Premiership? Yeah. To going from 38 games to 34 would just never happen because they're not going to give up the income of 4 games.
Think of the television money that would be dropped by individual teams. Like I think the television revenue would go up for the overall division itself. I think we'd get more games on the television. We'd see, you'd have the likes of the Dunfermline and Falkirk derby being back here probably. You'd have the Dundee derby back.
Falkirk in the 3rd tier, don't you forget.
But let's just think
miles off it.
If you're thinking in the terms of the biggest teams in Scotland, right, they two are probably in an 18-team top flight.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've got that derby back, you've got Dundee derby back, you've got but the thing is,
but it's variety for supporters going to the games as well. That's the most important.
But then you look at the television in the sense that
they're not going to give up 4 Old Firms.
Yep, that's
not
what you
said.
Happen. For both tickets and the television, there's so many intricacies about this that just don't make it a viable
exactly
option.
What's wrong with football just now?
It's just ruined by what is became
TV
corporate
and money and all the rest. Have far more power than the willpower of the game-going fan. So, yeah, I
would love it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I would push for an 18-team league as much as possible.
It's not going to happen. Where are we? Well, so let me just think about what was on Instagram. Another one on Twitter. It was who was asking this? At Dazboy1967. Should El Hamed get back into the Celtic first team now he's back from injury? And who would you start wide left? Taylor, Hayes, or El Yunusi?
Is this in relation to the game on Sunday? Or?
I'd imagine so.
Right. Well, on Sunday I wouldn't start El Hamed.
Right. Okay.
I wouldn't. In an ideal world I would have. But
does he get into Celtic's best team?
If
everyone's fit and sharp.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it does. The perfect back three for me is El Hamed, Julian Ayer. That's the perfect back three. But this weekend, I think it should be Beaton, Julian and Ayer. Beaton has been fantastic over the past few games. He has proven that he's still a valuable asset to the Celtic squad. El Ahmed will ideally come back and play his best. And
sorry, I've just found these questions there on Instagram.
So that was a noise. I hope we picked that up. El Ahmed ideally will come back and play to the level he did before the injury. Look, he was fantastic, and he isn't the best.
That first Old Firm game at Ibrox, he was outstanding.
Oh, the tackle, one of the most underrated moments of the whole game. Not spoke about enough. Also,
until someone plastered on Twitter last night, everyone started speaking about it.
Also, he was huge in the games against Lazio. He's a fantastic player. And wide left, a lot of people want to see Hayes starting Sunday.
Mental.
Isn't that? A lot of people want to see Hayes start. People have turned their back very quickly on Greg Taylor.
No pleasing you Celtic fans, is there?
It plays me easily. I like him. I think he's good. I like both of them. I love Hayes. You know that.
So who would you start on wide left on Sat? So say Celtic with 3-5-2. Are you starting Elyounoussi wide? Are you starting Taylor or Hayes?
Greg Taylor.
Okay.
I'm starting Taylor personally.
I think
that's controversial in the current climate of things.
I don't know why though. He's the most natural fit
look,
to that role.
I think there was 2 games that didn't play that great. Get over it. You know, look, this game's going to be form.
They're suffering from the fact that Celtic were absolutely blessed with a left back who could do it all, and now they don't have that. So I mean, ultimately, their standard of what they expect from a fullback is very high. El McBride 06 on Instagram asks, this is a really interesting question: have Hibs really improved under Jack Ross?
Well,
yes.
I think there's a lot of people will come out and say, "Nah, no, really. Look at them; they're still dropping points. They're not performing."
They've improved. But I think what he's the point. Maybe I think the point have
is,
they improved to the extent that maybe people like myself think they have.
I think the point as well is maybe have they improved to the point where they should be at with that squad. You know, maybe they should be beating teams like Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Maybe they should be beating Hearts and Edinburgh Derby with the team that they have. For me, Jack Ross has undoubtedly improved them. I think he's improved them to a great extent. You look at a team who was second bottom of the table, man, when he came in.
Yeah, I completely agree. They have turned it around. They've had a bad week or two, but
look, everybody has a bad run of form. What people are writing off Celtic when we lost on the 29th. It's the same with Hibs. There's going to be something. Hibs' problem is not to do with Jack Ross. Hibs' problem has been the same for years. It was the same under Lennon. It was the same under Heckenbottom when he first got the job. It's the same when they were still in the league years ago. They're so inconsistent. It's like written into the tapestry of the team. They just can't ever perform consistently over the space of a 38-game season.
Yeah. I think he's definitely improved them. I think he could do with another transfer window or two. Although he did do well in January. Yeah. But I think next season will be the season you really judge Jack Ross's.
Yeah. When you get a full season, then that'll give a much better idea.
L Buckley 7 asks, Rogic next window, stay or go?
Stay.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Look, if we got money for him, then maybe there's a conversation.
He's come into a bit of form recently as well. Now
there's nothing to say
to the point he might even start on Sunday.
I don't see it, but he could.
But the point is that he's now
he's now in the conversation,
which he wasn't a month ago.
Oh no, absolutely not. Look, how much money would it take for me to say Rogic to go? It's hard to say.
It's really hard to say because you never know what you're going to get with Rogic.
Yep. So I don't know. I'd keep him. There's no way I would like to sell Tom.
Right, where are we going to go next? We'll go to Cami366 who says,
Hello,
will Gerrard get sacked if they fail to progress in Europe?
He won't get sacked. He'll walk. They can't afford to sack him, David. They can't.
I'm not saying they
can't. I know. Don't get it. Look, they've not even got a kit sponsor next year.
Yeah.
So look, they can't sack him.
If they get beat in Europe, he won't get sacked.
No, he's got to walk, and he will walk.
He might get sacked for other reasons, but it won't be because of that.
They just won't sack him.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Matthew Duff, who is obviously
loyal. Hello, Matthew.
Loyal supporter of the channel.
We should really do. We should get the phone in working, man. That'd be great. If we're sitting here with the phone now,
get people on
that'd
the
be
phone,
great. That would be fantastic.
Matthew, as usual, sent in loads of questions. I'm going to start off briefly with one that I think was aimed at me. He says, talk briefly on Afolabi, which obviously means, David, don't do your usual and talk loads about Dunfermline. So what I'm going to do is talk briefly on Jonathan Afolabi. So Afolabi came in. He's scored 2 goals now since he came in. I think he's played 5 games. I'm impressed with what I've seen so far. He is a big lad. He's strong. He holds the ball up well. Got a good touch. He's struggling just now. Nisbet's out injured just now, which doesn't help him. I think he's done well. He's definitely. I mean, he's out of the Dunfermline strikers that are left with Nisbet injured, he's the first choice one. So that tells you all you need to know. He can only get better. I think he'll need another year or two on loan after this, though. I don't think he's anywhere near it.
I'd be all up for giving him back for you.
So far, positive on Afolabi. Matthew, he also asked about Old Firm stuff. We're going to do an Old Firm show on Wednesday, specifically looking at that.
Before
so we'll leave that till then. Another thing he mentioned was football ticket prices and sort of displays and stuff to do with ticket prices. Again, that's a podcast in itself.
St Mirren were very vocal about that.
St Mirren have been all season. They've done multiple displays, and all power to them, because I think in the Premier League in England they've capped away fan ticket prices at £20. I'm sure for away fans in England. I'm pretty sure they have.
I don't think that would be possible down there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case.
Wow,
that needs to be the case up here as well.
Oh, yep. No, absolutely. I'm a big backer of the 20's plenty campaign.
20's even too much for me. It's meant to, like, the fact that, like, plenty. The phrase 20's plenty means like no more. That doesn't mean like it should be £20. Even the championships, some of the pricing's pretty ridiculous. So it's great to see fans taking a stand on that, and hopefully, eventually we'll get some sort of change. Finally, actually, I'll give you another question here. What can I fire your way?
I like feeling like a powerful man.
Ooh, God, there's lots of big questions here that are like, you could get podcasts out of them on their own. With Celtic being 13 points clear, is Gerrard the right man to top 10 in a row?
Who is though?
Nah, yes or no?
No.
Okay.
He's not the right man. I think if he was the right man, the season, this would have been a far closer season.
Right, okay. My argument with Gerrard, though, is it's literally been, he's had a bad couple of months. Before that, he'd done well.
Yep. But, I mean, you look at the man himself. I have never been a fan of Steven Gerrard. As a man who favours Manchester United, I've never been a man.
That doesn't mean that he's not the right
man. No, it's not that. I was going to come on to an actual point there. I've just said I've never been a fan of Gerrard, so I'm trying my best not to say it from a bitter point of view. I just think when you listen to him talk, and when you hear the things he says, he just doesn't sound like a man who's A, sure, or B, a backer of his team.
No,
and I know his team's not gave him a reason to back them, considering how spineless they've looked at points.
The question is there a realistic alternative that's better than
There's no
Gerrard?
realistic alternative.
So then he is the right man to try and stop.
He's still not the right man.
No,
but maybe there's someone out. No, maybe there's someone out there that we don't know. Look, who knew who Ronnie Dyler was? Ronnie Dyler came in and won 2 league titles. Maybe they
Ronnie Dyler came in to the absolute minimum that he was expected.
Yeah, of course, right. Of course, but you know what I mean. There's no telling who's the right man. There's no one on paper that we could see. But look at Wim Jansen. Yeah. Wim Jansen came in as top 10. Who knew who Wim Jansen was?
Yeah, absolutely.
What a baffling decision for a manager. Yeah. And he came in as top 10. So that's all it takes for Rangers. Gerrard's not the man, but neither is the realistic options that they've got.
Just quickly on to Thursday night. Do we think Rangers have got any chance? I mean, it's at Ibrox, so that gives
I think
them
they've got a chance of. I think it gives them a chance of making the game.
Can they stop Leverkusen scoring though?
I think it gives them a chance. The fact that it's at Ibrox of making the game gritty, difficult for Leverkusen, as we've said before.
The European
games are better for Rangers than what the domestic games are. It seems. Look, there's every chance of Rangers creating some form of upset in this. You know, it's European football. You know, we've seen it before. I mean, if it was only 12 years ago, Rangers made it to Manchester for the final, so you never know. But like for me, Leverkusen are far too strong a team. They need to do all they can in this home leg. But I think that altogether it'll be a Leverkusen.
The issue I see is I can't see them stopping them from scoring, and I think that will knacker them, because I think Leverkusen are a step up from Braga. I think they've got a chance, but ultimately I think it's a bit of a, with the confidence they have just now, it's a bit of a struggle. And that just about does us, I think.
That's it.
It is.
We've covered it all.
Well, I mean, we've not covered it all because there is too much to cover, and we have time constraints. But we'll be back on.
Well, we're going to record tomorrow, and then we'll upload it whenever we can.
Also, Dunfermline play Partick Thistle tonight, so yes.
Oh yes,
I'll
enjoy that, son.
Nice.
And my birthday we'll enjoy tomorrow.
I'm sure.
And also, very quickly, the new series.
Oh yeah, go and check that out.
Go and watch it. We should have mentioned that at the start.
We should have
done that at the start.
Classic series. Games Revisited.
Yep, the first
started off with Hibs Cup win 2016. Some lovely graphic work, I have to say. Well done, son.
Oh, thank you very much.
And also subscribe to the channel. The support has been amazing recently. The last podcast was the most viewed one yet, which was great. So thank you all for the support, and be sure to keep an eye on the channel for more content throughout the rest of the week. And thanks for listening.
Well, thank you very much.